Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, where we unbox the secret of the success in the toy industry. I'm your host, Jason Shea, and today we have a very special guest joining us. He's a seasoned veteran in the industry with a wealth of experience and wealth of knowledge, spending from owning his own retail store and all the way to now working for a global toys company. Please welcome Phil, and thank you for joining with me on the podcast today, Phil.
Thanks, Jason. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's start out with the interview today. Can you share with us your unique journey in the industry
Sure.
and how long you have been around?
Well, I was born into it. I will admit, I started in the toy industry at the age of 3. I was the cute kid that was on the float in the downtown parades for my grandfather's toy store. So I've been in the toy industry all my life. My grandparents started the store in the late 40s, and I started working there literally at the age of 7. I got 10 cents an hour in 1973 to cut up boxes.
Well,
Can you imagine giving a 7-year-old a box cutter today? At 14
yeah.
years old, I had my work permit in hand. My parents now own the store, and I was standing on the floor selling handheld electronic games. And in 1993, my dad called me up when I had a separate career going in a different field of team building and experiential education. And he said, "Hey, how would you like to join the toy industry full time?" And I did in 1993. So I was in the retail side from 1993 until 2016. Unfortunately, the city of Jackson, where I'm from in Michigan, didn't do so well with the economy in 2008. And by
Wow.
16, the handwriting was on the wall that it just couldn't support the store the way we were.
Yeah.
So I left the business. We closed up the store in 2016 after 68 years. And then I moved over to the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
First with a German brand called Haba USA, and now with another German brand called Ravensburger. So I'm the national sales
Well,
manager for
yeah.
all the independent stores that sell Ravensburger puzzles and toys and Brio and all that. So 31 years full time in the industry, but a
Well,
lifetime involved with toys.
yeah.
We lived and breathed it. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything else at Christmas time other than the toy industry.
And you have a very unique perspective because you work both as a retailer, now also representing like a
Yeah.
giant toy brand. And I think the perspective is very interesting. So my next question for you is, what do you think that set the independent specialty toy store apart from the large retailer, and how can they strive in like today's competitive landscape, especially for the smaller guys?
It, it's very simple. The thing that sets them apart is passion. You can
Okay.
sum it up in one word. When I deal with, or our team deals with, the bigger accounts and the national brands and all that, it's a numbers game.
Okay.
They need to know, are they going to, what's the turn ratio? How fast is this going to move? Am I going to make money? What's my profit margin? It's all numbers. When
Yes.
I deal with my sales reps and with my retailers and the independent side, that's my primary channel. It's the feeling.
Hmm.
It's, do I feel good about this product? Do I
Yeah.
feel good about this company? Am I being served right? Do we have a good relationship? And that
Yeah.
relationship carries over to the customer.
Hmm.
So that
Cool.
that retailer has a relationship. No one has a relationship with Target.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not knocking Target. I'm not saying that they're a bad company or anything like that, but it's not a relationship. It's a transaction. You go into Target, you
100%.
buy something, you move out. You go into your specialty store, it's a relationship.
That's
I have
true.
We
Yeah.
closed the store, God, almost 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago. I
Yeah.
still have people that come up to me on the street and talk to me.
Really? Whoa.
Oh yeah, because they,
Whoa.
they see me, they know me from the store. Just yesterday, I had a guy yesterday. He's like, "Oh my
Uh-huh. Are you back? Phil? Sorry, the internet connection is kind of slow.
God,"
Go ahead.
having a strong relationship with your vendors, those are the things that are going to make an independent store successful.
Mm.
It's all about the relationship.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's unique with a independent specialty store is you actually get to meet the owner. Right? When is the last time you meet the CEO of Target, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's the main difference. So and also,
Or,
so yeah, anything you want to add?
or one of the funny things that would happen is, someone come in with a complaint me. I couldn't say, oh, that was a corporate decision, because I was the corporate. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Very different dynamic. And of course, you can create that, the first name basis relationship that you couldn't create in the big box retail store. So, and I know you are also has been a member for Astra for over 25 years.
yes.
What role do you see the organization like Astra playing in supporting independent toys retailers and also like supporting small toys brand like myself, because I also own a small toy brand myself as well.
Astra has amazing programs and amazing people. And again, it's the people, it's the relationships, and a lot of some of my best friends in this world are people I have met through my time being in Astra.
Mm.
And one of the things, in fact, just before this podcast, literally I hung up from that call before getting on this call, was a new program called the Ambassador Program, where I am going to be, because of my experience and being a veteran in the industry and a veteran of Astra, an ambassador, a mentor for maybe possibly somebody like yourself that's new to Astra. And so now I can take my knowledge and my experience and say, hey, Jason, here's some things that you should know about Astra, and help you out. And then you can say, hey, Phil, I got a question. I'm your guy.
Yeah, I
And
saw that meeting. I wasn't able to attend. I have a conflict meeting.
yeah,
I definitely need to watch the replay to understand how that
so
membership program works.
so those kinds of things exist within Astra. Astra does so much to support not only the retailers, but also the manufacturers,
Mm.
the sales reps, the affiliates, the people that do all the support for us. They
Yeah.
work to help all of these people meet each other, connect in meaningful ways, and help each other to grow. When you get to Astra, for instance, at their marketplace and academy, they have classes
Mm.
that teach you how to be a better retailer or how to be a better manufacturer, classes that teach you about child development and play and how play affects child development,
Mhm.
classes that teach you the insights of the toy industry to keep you informed of what is going on and how things are evolving and changing within the industry. So
Yeah.
it's really more than just, hey, here's product, buy it.
Mhm.
It's how do we make each other better? How do we build those relationships that we talked about and make it better?
For sure. And this is actually our first year with my toy brand and my toy company. Our first year to attend Astra. We actually have our first ever booth. So I'm kind of nervous about it. But what is your advice for like newbie like us that have never been part of the Astra yet? I mean, I have been in the toy industry for since 2017, but my business is 100% online. I do zero retail because that is not what I'm good at. But this year, I'm really trying to figure out my way into the retail. But what will you say to a brand new toy brand owner like myself that is trying to get into the retail space but doesn't really know where to start? Just sign up for Astra, but doesn't really know where to start neither. What is your piece of advice?
Well, the first piece of advice is know what your story is.
Mm,
Know why you're going there, and what is the story that compels your product to be something that people want to sell.
mm,
When they come in, do they know, they come into your booth, do they understand what are you selling? Because you're not selling a toy.
yeah.
Let's we all have to understand that we're not selling toys. We're selling solutions to
Mm,
problems
true.
or solutions to situations. We are selling a story, a feeling. How are people going to feel when they buy your product? So you have to know that side of things. The other
Yeah.
thing you have to know and understand is the dynamics financially of how that works for a specialty retailer. What kind of margins are they expecting? What kind of programs are they expecting? Can they order your stuff easily? How much are you going to ask them to order? If you
Yeah.
say, hey, I need you to buy 144 of each of these items,
Yeah.
they're going to probably go, unless your item is this big, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know
100%. Yeah.
so
Sure.
you have to know a little bit about that, and
Mhm.
what that retailer will expect. Most of the retailers are looking for, do you offer a program for free freight, because we don't want to pay the freight?
Mhm.
Do you have good margins? They're
Mhm.
looking for keystone margins. If you have better than that, even better. If
Yeah.
you don't have that, what do you have instead of that that's going to help
Mm,
out? So if the margins are a little bit tight, maybe you can't quite do that because of how your structure's set up. Then you have to figure out, what do I have that will offset that? Is this product going to move fast enough? Do I
mm.
have marketing assets? There's a lot of little
Yeah.
things,
A lot of
but
things.
the big thing at the end of the day is Do I have something that I can relate to the customer with, the retailer can relate? Can they figure out exactly what I'm trying to sell, what I'm trying to solve,
Mhm.
where my products fit?
Yeah, and also like how can you have a packaging that's appealing enough? I think we have a conversation offline about that because that's my weak point. My entire business is structured for online sales and e-commerce.
Hmm.
So packaging
So
is
makes
usually
sense.
like the second thought because people don't really see that online as much.
Hmm.
But in the retail space, like a specialty toy store, that's everything that people see before they make that buying decision. So
And that's also, the bigger the store, the more important the packaging is.
yeah.
Special That's the one thing that specialty stores have, that relationship they have with their customers. They can turn around and say to a customer, hey, I know you didn't look at this because it doesn't look very exciting on the shelf, but let me show you this. You're really going to like it. And they can
True.
do what we call hand selling.
I see.
Some
Yeah.
retailers are very good at that, some are not. But that's how you overcome the packaging issue somewhat.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yes, packaging is, as much as I hate to say it, we are a shallow group of people, and we do judge a book by its cover. So
True.
packaging is important, and packaging is especially important if you're trying to get into, say, Canada,
Mm,
because Quebec has its own rules with the French language. You
true,
have to
true,
know what
true.
that is, or you
Yeah,
can be in a lot of trouble trying to sell into
true.
French Canadian markets.
Same as actually Amazon Canada, you need to have two language on your packaging. That's one
Mhm.
of the Amazon requirements. Since we do a lot of
Yeah,
business with Amazon, you do need to have English and French on your
English and
packaging if you
French.
want to,
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to sell into Canadian marketplace. So I want to transition to my next question, which is really more about like growing and running a successful retail toy business, which is majority of your experience, and you hire a team like supporting your store. Like, what strategy have you found? Especially for the listener that might also own their like retail store, what is the most effective way to recruit, not just recruiting but also nurture your team members so they can really help your store to be successful based on your previous experience?
I can tell you that the most important thing is you have to know what kind of person you want to hire. When I say what kind of person, we all have inherent traits.
Yeah.
We might be friendly and outgoing. We might be very smart and organized. We might be super organized. We might have a trait of, we're very prompt and always on time. We might have a trait that says we love to crunch numbers, or we love to help other people.
Yeah.
And so you have to identify what are the traits
Hmm.
that this job requires, and list them all out. You just go boom, 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 boom. Here's all the different things I want out of this person. What's the perfect employee? And when you
Mm,
know what the perfect employee is,
yeah.
you're going to look at that list of traits and you're going to say, okay, this I can teach. So I'm going to move that over here. This I can't teach. So I'm going to move that over there. They
Hmm.
have to bring this to the table. This I can put in my training program. And so what we do is we create two lists, a list of what they have to bring to the table and a
Hmm.
list of what I'm going to teach. And now you have your interview questions
Yeah.
and your training manual.
Okay, that's a good way to
And
look
you
at
and
it.
you've already built it.
Yeah.
Now, finding those people, if you're using, Indeed or any place else like that, if you're going to Monster, if you're doing any of the online sites or your local paper or a radio ad, the key here is this list of traits.
True, true.
Help your people self-select.
Hmm.
If you're looking for somebody that's super organized, saying start off your description of the job not with what they're going to do or anything like that. Say, I'm looking for someone that's super organized.
Hmm.
All right, right off the bat, the people that are not super organized, or at least don't identify that way, are going to go, "Oh, that's not for me." But the
True,
people
true.
that are going, "That's super organized," going, "Oh, I'm super organized. I'm looking for somebody that's super organized, that loves to solve problems and help people out in a fun way."
Mhm. So I want to bring the question back to specifically to the specialty toy store. Like, is there a special trade? Like, do you want to hire someone that really love and have passion about the toys? And or what is the trade that you are looking
For
for?
for me in my store, when I was hiring, and we hired 10 to 12 people just for the Christmas season because we were a very large store.
True.
Um, the things I was looking for is people that were friendly,
Hmm.
outgoing, and love to solve problems or help people. And so,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
one of the questions I would often ask is, somebody, whether you had retail experience or not, didn't matter, because you could
Mm,
have 20 years of experience in retail, but it was all at J.C. Penney. You're no good to me.
True.
So,
Very different.
it's
Yeah.
so I would have somebody that I would talk to, and I might ask them a question like, "Tell me about a time where you had really good customer service."
I see. Okay.
And
Okay.
what that would do is that would help. They'd share an experience with me that they've had.
Hmm.
Me and I really good customer, and that gave me an idea of a time of just kind of where their head was in that space. Or I'd say, "Tell me about a time where you had to solve a really hard problem."
Hmm.
And if they say, "Oh my God, I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It was the worst thing in the world." I'm like, well, you might not be the right person for me. But if you say, "Oh,
Mm.
you will not believe this. I had this experience and it was so cool because I did this and this and this. And next thing you know, this happened." And I'm like, okay, that's somebody that has a passion for solving problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Definitely.
so those are the things that I looked for when I was looking at, but like it changes for every job. I needed a new
True.
bookkeeper for my store, and
Yeah.
I really wanted someone that's ultra organized.
True. True. True.
I
That's
want
different
someone
too.
who said,
Yeah.
I interviewed a person who said, at the end of the day, when I leave, I want to make sure that if I get hit by a bus on the way home, whoever has to step in tomorrow knows exactly what I've done.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
That's what you want for that's what you
True.
want for your book.
True.
That might not
Yeah.
translate to sales. It
Yeah.
might,
Yeah.
but that's the every position in your store has that
Different.
characteristic.
Yeah.
And if you have to know what you want,
Hmm.
what you can train, what you can't train. I can teach you all you need to know about toys. I can
Yeah.
show you how to play games. I can talk about how different toys are used for different needs. I can talk to you about how the cash register works and our layaway policy and our gift wrapping policy and our returns policy. I can teach all that,
Yeah.
but I can't teach you to care.
That's true. That's true. That's a hard one to teach. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And for us, for our toy brand and our toy marketing company, we also use like DISC, like a personality test, just to
Hmm.
kind of bring us a little bit more context. Another one we have used in the past is called Kobe assessment. That's also a personality test assessment we do. Right now, we have like our team is fairly small. We have about 9 people, including myself. We are still trying to grow. So, like, thank you so much for sharing some of the tips for the interview. I'll definitely, implement some of that into my current hiring process as well. So the next thing I want to transition into is now we talk about hiring, but I want to talk about marketing for retail store, which is a very unique challenge for because marketing play a significant role to attract your local customer to your local retail toy store. What are some of your unique marketing approach that you have tried in the past that worked well for you?
Well, the first thing is you have to know exactly who you are. When I say who you are, you as a person, but you as a business.
Hmm.
What does your business stand for? What are the values of your business? Because the customer that's going to be the easiest sell for you is the customer who shares the same values you have.
True. Yeah.
And so, like for instance, my values were having fun, helping others, education, and nostalgia,
Yeah.
which is about the perfect combination for a toy store. Nostalgia because you got Christmas and birthdays.
True.
Uh, the having fun, toys.
Yeah.
How the education, toys are educational. They
Yeah.
said that all television is educational. It just depends on what it's teaching. And I
Mm,
say the same thing about all toys. All toys are educational, but not all lessons are the same.
true. Yeah.
And so knowing that those were my four core values and my store's four core values, I
Mhm.
made sure that in all my advertising, I was talking to at least for help
Mhm.
customers. Get the people who are interested in these things in openly and consciously.
Mhm.
And it's everything value some of the marketing. I would run radio ads. I used a lot of it
Mhm.
on social media. It was value share the interesting ways because that's the other thing about advertising. If it looks and sounds like an ad, what's the first?
It is an ad. Yeah.
It's an ad, and we are trained to ignore ads.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
we don't so that we don't have find as we can to avoid ads. We hate ads Sunday when we watch them all and then instead of the game. But so don't sound like an ad. Make it interesting. I had a Christmas radio ad that said he left him someone his sweet little 6-year-old wanted. 6 cities, 7 stores later, he stood for me.
Okay.
Merry Christmas from the Toy House in downtown Mile. I mean, that was an ad on the radio. It was a story.
Yeah.
It was a story. It was it was the Simon game, which we weren't even selling at the time Christmas had ever had. Why? Because it touched on that value of nostalgia, and it say things that are interesting, that people want to listen. Say things that people want to share. We make this big mistake on social media where we just make posts, and we think the quantity of posts is what's going to do it. It isn't. Say things that are share-worthy. Say things. This is share-worthy, by the way, is a term that my friend Tim came up with, and it's a really cool term because on social media, especially, if you say something there, make it something that somebody's going to say, I got to tell so-and-so about this.
True.
Because what is the best form of advertising? Word of mouth.
Right? Yeah.
So the only way you get word of mouth is to do something that somebody has to tell somebody else about.
For sure. That's totally true. So I know you have so much different experience in the toy industry. What excites you the most about the future of the toy industry, and what do you hope to see in the years to come?
I can go a lot of different ways with that. The biggest one is that I think even with technology has grown and expanded. I was in the toy industry when Fisher Price started putting a little chip into everything. Everything that they made now had a little chip in it, so it made noise and it made sounds and it did.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff was done frivolously. It was just there. It didn't really add play value. And I think one of the things that's excited me the most, especially with the brands that I've worked with Haba and with Ravensburger, is play value is at the core of what we do. And most of the toys I see nowadays, we've gotten away from technology as just a bell and whistle and as a gimmick to technology only if it makes sense for the play value.
Got it. Yeah.
And play value is what makes the difference in a child's life. The lessons that they learn start at a very early age. And so I'm not anti-technology. I'm anti-frivolous technology. I am all about play value. And what I have seen over the last 10 years is a trend away from technology for the sake of technology and technology for the purpose of expanding and building on the play value and on the experience. So those are the things that I'm excited about, because play value at the end of the day is what's going to make us a better country.
True.
We grow our kids this way.
Yeah, that's totally true. So, and do you have any memorable experience or lesson that you learned from working in the toy industry for over 30 years? And what are some of the major lessons that you would like to share with the listeners?
Well, that story I told, the ad I gave you, was about an actual experience that happened to me when I was 14 years old.
Oh,
and it was literally Christmas Eve, and I stood behind a glass counter the whole time, and all I did was show the handheld electronic games. I'd take the Simon game out and I put it on the counter and say, see the 4 colors, and push the buttons. And I pull out the little Coleco handheld football game and I'd say, see this? And I'd hold it up here so they could see it. And I go, did it? And I could play all these games better than all my friends backwards, because that's all I did all day was demonstrate these.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas Eve, and we had been sold out of the Simon games for weeks.
Yeah.
But we'd had one that came back that was canceled on layaway an hour before we closed, and my mom hands it to me, puts it down on my feet, and says, see if you can sell this in the next hour. And turn around, and this guy is standing there. And he is driven. Literally, he left Detroit and he went all the way across the state of Michigan to Grand Rapids, was working his way back. He was in a store in Battle Creek, and they said, if anyone has it, the Toy House in Jackson will have it. And he came in. I had the game, and he's reaching over the counter and he's hugging me and he's saying, God bless you, over and over. He's crying.
Whoa,
I'm crying. I'm
whoa,
14 years old, and I'm not
whoa.
realizing it just now, just it's dawning on me. My whole world's kind of opening up to the idea of what a difference we make.
Mm,
And we have to always remember that we aren't just selling toys,
yeah.
we're making a difference.
Mm,
And so that was years to process that. That was 1980. It wasn't until 93 that I was full-time in the toy industry. So, I was doing other things, but at the same time, that was the moment. And
yeah.
when I reflect back on that, that was the moment where I said, it's not about selling toys, it's about making.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that story. That's a powerful story. I can 100% relate it to that because with my own toys brand, I started the toy brand because my son with his, autism and special needs. And the toy we're trying to create is also trying to make a difference in the life of the kids and the family that use the toy that we create and we design. So I can 100% relate it to that
Mhm.
and part of your mission statement that you just shared. So as well, wrapping up in kind of wrapping up toward the end of today's interview, if you had just one piece of advice to share with someone that's getting started in the toy industry, what would that be?
Know why you're doing it. Know
Uh-huh.
exactly why. Know your core values. And make sure that what you're doing with your business, whether it's opening a retail store or manufacturing a product, or becoming a sales rep in the industry or whatever it is, know exactly that it matches your core values,
Hmm.
and make sure that it matches them openly.
Hmm.
You know, it's the best advice I ever got, and it has served me served me well. I'll give you one other piece of advice though, because it came from my grandfather, and
Sure.
he started the store in 1949, grew it into this amazing 3 words. All of our life, he drilled this into our heads: plan for success.
Plan for success. Okay.
And
Hmm.
if you know who exactly what you are and why you're doing what you're doing, it's really easy to find that success, because
Hmm.
you'll attract the same people that share your values.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's also very important because entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter what type of business that you open in the toy industry,
Mhm.
it's going to be tough. That's going to be a lot of up and downs. It's not always going to be roses and rainbow all the
Mhm.
time. So if you don't really, just like you say, if you don't really understand what you're standing for, you most likely going to give up as an entrepreneur. And that's the only way to lose as an entrepreneur is when you give up. If you
Yeah.
don't give up, like, I mean, even for me, throughout my entrepreneur journey, I went through a lot of stuff. I share openly in the podcast in the past. When I first started my own toy brand back in 2017, I have a full-time job. I have 3 kids, one with special needs. The second one just got diagnosis with cancer, which is leukemia. At the same year when I launched my toy business, it's like my life was like so
Mhm.
stressful, and I was trying to piece everything together and launch my own toy business at the same time. And my wife at the time was pregnant with our third child,
Mm.
all happening within like the same year. So you can
Wow.
imagine the amounts of stress I was under
Yeah.
and like to try to overcome all that. But I want to share that story with a listener because if I can overcome that, so can you. It doesn't matter what kind of business you start in the toy industry. It could be a retail store, it could be your own brand, but you are going to run into trouble, but or run into difficulty. But the main thing is you never give up. And just like what Phil shared earlier, is believe in your true core value, believe on why you start a business. Then you're going to prevail on on the other side and see the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully as well.
The
So
beautiful thing about aligning with your core values is, number one, it doesn't feel like work. You're just doing
100%.
what comes natural.
Yeah,
And number two, you're going to find the low hanging fruit, which is the people who share your values.
for
They're
sure.
the easiest customers to attract.
For sure. Yeah.
So do find out what your core values are. Make sure your business aligns completely with your core values, and make sure you do everything consciously.
For sure, for sure. So thank you so much for being on our podcast interview today. Where is the best place for the listener to find you?
The best place is go to my website, philsforum.com, PHILSFORUM, philsforum.com. That's my side business where I do give advice and talk to people, retailers, about how to be better retailers, and it has my contact information there.
I see. And I think we'll also see you in Astra this year.
And
Yes.
I'll be at Astra. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
perfect. Yeah, I was also see you in Astra yet. Please come swing by to our booth, which is 3303. And me and my sister will be there
Wonderful.
walking the
I'm
show.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to see you in person. And thank you so much again for being on our podcast and sharing all your experience and sharing all your knowledge in the toy industry. And really thank you for and really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Jason.